Hi, I'm Dennis from Plain Truth Ministry. Welcome to Friday in the Word. Today, I want to talk about loving one another and being there. The passage comes from John's Gospel, chapter 13, verse 34, and it reads, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, and that you also love one another." Jesus is giving this commandment to his disciples and all who will hear it. What's important to me when I read that verse is the middle part, that you love one another as I have loved you. How did Jesus love? This week we buried my mother, who had passed at the end of last week, and a dear friend who was a pastor several years ago at my mother's church did the service, and he spoke about my mother, and he said he was thinking during the time since he was asked to deliver the message what best described her. And the word that he chose was there. She was there for everyone around her. My sister Donna delivered a beautiful and poignant eulogy, citing examples of her being there. Not preaching, not any of those things, but being there as an example, as a person willing to give of themselves until, if you looked at it, you would say there was no more to give, and then give some more. So it got me to thinking about this passage and how Jesus loved. And I made a few notes that I wanted to talk about. And when I think about how Jesus loved, here are some things that come to mind. When Jesus spoke, he told the truth, the hard truth. No sugarcoating, the reality. Among other things, that the only way to the Father was through him. He taught not only about how to live on this earth, to love others on this earth, to be a teacher on this earth through your actions, but how to reach the Father, and that was only through him. He taught that heaven is real, hell is real, and only through him can we get to heaven. He taught in a way that people could understand. He didn't teach theologically. He spoke to people in the way that they spoke, using examples that they would understand. If you read his parables, you will see that through and through. He held on to people when they needed holding. He chastised people when they needed chastised. He was very real in that way. Getting people to the only one way meant that he had to call people out, and he did. He set an example through his life and actions. People who saw him knew what he was, and he never wavered from that. He poured himself out onto others, even those he hadn't met. He gave of himself. He corrected those who questioned the truth. He made sure that people understood the hard, true reality of what it meant to be in Christ. He showed what we call humanity. He saw people who were hungry at the Sermon on the Mount, and he said, "Hey, let's feed them." And when they didn't have enough to feed them, he made enough to feed them. He was there. He was very much there. And that's the example that we have from him, and a personal example that I have from my mother and all those around her have. There. Be there in Christ for others. God bless.